It is time for our discussion with Executive Vice President of the Dallas Cowboys, Stephen Jones, brought to you by North Texas Ford Dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. Stephen, how we doing today, man?
Doing good, guys. How you doing? Hope you had a good Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we absolutely did. A win always helps, for sure. That makes the turkey a lot tastier on that Thursday. I know the players are out today on their annual team hospital visits. Can you talk a little bit about why they go out for this and what the impact is in the community there?
Well, obviously, our players are held to a high standard, and our young people in the community really look up to them. And certainly, when you look at these hospital visits, these are children who have been dealt a challenge, and their families have been dealt a challenging hand, and our players are committed to and feel strongly about giving back and trying to put a smile on these young people's faces who are during this holiday season are having to battle challenges that most of the children in North Texas aren't faced with. And it's I know all the ones that I talk to and see they get a lot out of it, and feel good about putting a smile on these young people's faces.
Stephen, just as from a personal note, my daughter's spent some time up in Cleveland Clinic, and we go up there for her clinical trial, and we've spent weeks there at a time, months at a time before as well, and it is a huge thing whenever somebody comes through, man. Those hospital walls can get small on you, so it does bring a lot of light to the faces.
Well, I wasn't aware of that, and certainly, my heart goes out and my prayers to your family. And, most of these kids are, as I said, aren't faced with those type of challenges, but the ones who are very special. And they're special people. And as you said, we've all, whether it's your parents, your grandparents, but certainly when it's children, it really hits close to home. And, those hospitals, especially during the holidays, not that they are at any time, but during the holidays, it can, bring a breath of fresh air. And, the biggest thing is it makes us all count our blessings in terms of what's really important. Sports is fun. Sports is a respite. But at the end of the day, there's a lot more important things in our lives than a sports contest. And certainly you understand that sounds like as well as anybody.
Well, amen, Stephen. And when it comes to special people on a football field, Micah Parsons is that guy. And I know you've seen a lot of different defensive players, but it seems like him, I'm not trying to say anything about the other guys on the field, but man, when he is on the field, it totally changes your defense. And I know you've had DeMarcus Ware and Charles Haley and DeMarcus Lawrence, but he seems to make such a huge difference for the other guys on the field and turns your defense into a quality defense.
Absolutely. And certainly, not having him there for 4 or 5 game stretch, and then having him back, you see the type of impact that he has. And, you sprinkle in a guy like DeMarvion Overshone, who's just got some rare ability himself in terms of his play style, his speed, what he brings to the table. And you see how guys like that, you get a few more guys back like a D-Law. This defense changes from, a defense that has had challenges all year to one that, gives the other teams some tough looks and some challenging things to look at. And we all know injuries are part of our game. People around the league have them, but it does unfortunately, it does make a difference when you're missing some of your top players. We're not the only team who had to battle that, but it can make a difference in the type of team that you're able to put out there when you're missing some of these guys. But Micah's certainly special. He's got rare explosiveness, rare speed, and that quarterback's always got his eye on where 11's lining up, when he's getting ready to snap the ball.
Stephen, and when it comes to the challenge that Mike Zimmer kind of placed for Micah on leadership, it does seem like Overshone's the kind of guy that a lot of guys gravitate to. His flash and style on the field, like that can be something they get excited about. How do you see the guys respond to the leadership of what Micah is being challenged to do right now?
I think it's good. I think Micah, every individual, how they play the game, how they prepare for the game, what are the things they do off the field in terms of, not everything's going to always be all football. They refer to it as the 3S: football, family, and faith. But when they get away, everybody's going to do things a little differently. But I do think Micah's working hard, at that aspect of his game in terms of being a leader, because one of the things you have to do, you can have great men on your team, but if they're not great players, it's always hard. It's a lot harder to lead if you're not a great football player. Certainly, Overshone and Micah have that ability. Guys in the past like a Sean Lee, as you mentioned, a D-Ware, guys who have both. Offensively, Michael Irvin did it for us during the Super Bowl years. He was not only a dynamic leader, but he had to also be a dynamic player, and Michael Irvin exuded that. And not everybody has both. Some people can be really great players on the field, but not necessarily, all pros, in the leadership category too. But you do have those guys. Certainly, the first guy that comes to my mind since we've had the football team is Michael Irvin.
Yeah, that always steps into my mind as well whenever I think of a guy that had a big voice that everybody was listening to. When it comes to Rico Dowdle and the success he's had over the last couple of weeks, Mike and I have this discussion a lot about what leads to that success. How much of what Dowdle has been able to do has been the offensive line's production as well?
Well, I think it's opportunities. At the end of the day, the offensive line group, coming together as a group. But the main thing is, the defense, as we get healthier, the offense, the play caller, everybody gets more confidence when you don't feel like, hey, I've got to go out here and, you feel the pressure to score because you're behind, multiple scores. And you get away from the things that you want to be doing, which is run the football. Obviously, teams that do it and do it well run it well, and certainly, we're getting back in that groove now with Rico. He's doing a great job. He's trusting the looks up front, but the biggest thing is, we're just competing and executing in all three phases and playing the complementary football. And at the end of the day, that results in wins. You run the ball more, you're less apt to turn the ball over. The flip side of that, in close games or the other team gets behind, then they got to expose themselves and they turn the ball over. All these things are the keys to what leads to winning football games in the NFL.
Schoonmaker's on a really nice 3-game stretch here. Can you explain what he has improved during the season to now become a productive tight end?
I think the biggest thing is opportunity. And, when you got a great one in front of you like Jake Ferguson, you're going to feed him the ball first. Jake wasn't Jake Ferguson until Schultz left for Houston. And certainly hats off to Schoonmaker for, taking advantage of his opportunities. And, we didn't draft him in the second round, for not having a lot of respect for his game and what he brings to the table. He's a long, big athlete who can make plays and get an opportunity. And I think that's only going to make us better when Ferguson gets back, now that the coaches and, the quarterbacks are getting more and more confidence in a guy like Schoonmaker. So, we've got some really bright spots on this football team, on the offensive side of the ball with the young offensive linemen. Love our tight end room. Obviously, CD leading the way with the receiving group. We'll continue to see how that evolves as the season goes. But, there's a lot to be positive about. And then defensively, as we get healthy and you see guys like Overshone step up, certainly is great. Mozzie's playing much better football this year than last year. So, there's a lot of things as we move forward to be positive about. we need to step up here. We've all watched the Bengals play this year. They're a fun team to watch with Burrow, but they bring a lot of challenges, and certainly won't be an easy game. They're in all their games. They played some great teams, but obviously a huge game for us in terms of keeping knocking, albeit we're on the back of the pack right now, but certainly we're not out of it mathematically by any stretch.
And that's the Simpsons game too. So that one's going to have a different unique broadcast. Were y'all involved with that at all? Did they bring some of the artwork to you guys and say, "Hey, check this stuff out"?
I don't think so. I think it's already been cooked when we finally get to see it. We're just participants, and I don't know that we get a lot of input into that, but certainly support it.
You did mention Mozzie there, and I was kind of curious, like what you've seen, what you've noticed of him, and how he's playing better for you guys this year.
I think the biggest thing is he understands what's expected of him. He came from Michigan as a 330-pound nose tackle, two-gapper, and we all know Dan Quinn, and certainly nothing but respect for him and what he's getting accomplished in Washington. He's really got those guys playing at a high level. But he was asking Mozzie to do some things that weren't necessarily, exactly what he was doing in Michigan, albeit he felt like he would, grow into that. I think Zim is now, Coach Zimmer's asking him to do a lot of things that he did at Michigan. And I think he's got his body back to where he can do the things he does best, and he understands what Mike's asking him to do, and I think that's resulted in him being very productive for us and helping our defense as the defense has evolved, and certainly getting their hands around and grasping, what Mike wants in terms of executing on the defensive side of the ball.
Are you expecting to see DeMarcus Lawrence? I know that Jerry kind of mentioned that on Friday, but are you expecting to see DeMarcus Lawrence in the game Monday night?
Probably a long shot for Monday night, but it's not out of the question. We'll see how this week goes. But, I respect D-Law on many, many fronts, but the biggest one of all is he wants to play the game. And when a lot of guys, especially, as long as he's been in the league, a lot of guys want it to be just right before they get back out there. He's one of those that if he feels like there's any way he can go, he's going to suit up and go play football. And have nothing but respect for him for that. So if anyone could pull it off, it would be D-Law, but we'll see how that goes. I certainly expect to see him sooner than later.
Well, and on continue on that front, CeeDee Lamb looks like he's been beat up a lot this year, and he keeps getting out there. And he even talked about, look, I'm going to be out there no matter what. Would people be surprised at how banged up he actually is?
Yeah, I mean, he's just, we're, as you know, we want to get CD the ball, and when you're getting targeted like that, you're a focus in terms of what the other team's defense is looking at, and they're knocking him around, and people always right there when he's catching the ball. So, that's part of being, a number one receiver in this league. You get a lot of attention, but I agree with you. This guy's a competitor. There's a lot of there's players in this league that wouldn't be playing right now, but getting out there and competing and being there for his teammates is, so important to CD. And like I said, I'd be shocked if he's not ready to roll against the Bengals.
Well, Stephen, did anybody bring any new fixins to the table for Thanksgiving that you had to try out?
It was our traditional Thanksgiving meal, which is, in my opinion, as good as it gets. I love it, and we do our main Thanksgiving, believe it or not until the Saturday afternoon after the Thursday night game. Although we do have a nice meal there before the game on Thanksgiving Day, but we get our family together and everybody that weekend since we're not playing on that Sunday. And as we started out the show, there's so much to be thankful for, and I must say, though, when you're in our household with Jerry, myself, my brother and sister, a win always makes the meal taste all that much better.
Well, Mike's been wanting to ask that Fixins question since Thanksgiving. Thank you very much, Stephen, for answering that and moving on with us today. We really appreciate it, man. We'll talk with you next week.
Appreciate you guys. Take care.